Good morning. So this is week 5. Congratulations to you for making it this far, because you want to know something? Don't you feel healthy inside when you can just see that you have some momentum? This is the 5th video. If you've watched every video, think about the amount that you're growing in your spiritual life just by having these moments. So just wanted to say, God wants you, and He's proud of you. And for whatever it's worth, like it means anything, but so am I. So let's just get started. This morning, what I wanted to talk about was with my little gas station coffee, I was thinking, have you ever had this experience in your life where you feel like you're up against something spiritual in your life and you're running out of gas?
I need gas.
It might be a certain temptation that you're facing, or it might be something that you're I just feel like God is so far away from me right now. But either way, it's kind of when you're starting to chug-a-lug up that hill with a little old beetle moving up, and you're like, uh-oh, I'm hitting the gas pedal and I don't feel like I have enough gas. Me too. I felt like that just this week. Actually, I was at this 5th and 6th grade retreat last week, and the girls are so cute, and you guys probably know that because probably half of you that are watching this were on this retreat too. But I had this moment where I was watching this little 7th grade girl. I mean, it was 5th to 8th, right? So I was watching this little 7th grade girl in front of the ECYD store, and she really wanted this Bible kit, but she didn't have enough money. And she turns to her little friend, and she's like, "It's okay, I'll just have Dad Venmo me." And in 5 minutes, this kid had $30. $30! Can you imagine having $30 when you're in 7th grade? But even so, to have it in 5 minutes like that, and I just watched this little magical, moment of the Venmo, and I was like, that is totally how God operates in our souls. So let's imagine this, okay? Let's say that your soul is like this spiritual storehouse, almost kind of like a Venmo account, okay? And it's constantly, through your whole life, it's like picking up these different spiritual experiences of God, and it's just storing them. So it's like on my first communion when God felt really close and tender to me. And then the first time I opened a Bible and I realized that God could speak to me, and I felt stronger. And then when I got into high school and I went on that one retreat, and I remembered that there was just this peace and this gentleness that just filled my soul during morning prayers one morning, right? Your soul is this spiritual storehouse. And kind of like your good dad, like this 7th grade girl who had the dad Venmo her the $30, right? Your whole life long, God the Father is just Venmoing you this experience of grace inside of you. It's all coming from Him, the whole thing, right? So that's a really beautiful concept of my heart being this Venmo account. However, you may also feel like life is making these withdrawals from your bank account and you don't have enough money. So it works like this. I'm faced up against the same temptation I always have. I feel like I'm never gonna be good enough, so I'm not even gonna try. And so every time I go to pray, I have this temptation. I'm not good enough. I won't ever be good enough. Why do I even try? And you can feel like that temptation is too strong for you, and it's exacerbating this huge withdrawal out of your Venmo account. What do? Because actually that temptation is real, right? So you can't pretend it's not, and you might feel sometimes like there's a scarcity, like that there's not quite enough cash in the account, okay? Well, first thing you can do is request more money, like this smart 7th grader who just yeah, I'll just have my dad Venmo me more money, right? But here's something interesting about the way that this account works. Sometimes you might have more money in the account than you think, and you just need to unfreeze the assets. So it looks like this. Let's go back to my moment when I was in First Communion, right? And I know that moment was full of this closeness and this peace, yeah? That 2nd grade, I received Jesus, and it was just okay, God is close and He's tender, right? That's a $5 memory right there. But try this. I bet you if you run up against this withdrawal complex in your life, and you go back to that moment, and you go back to your First Communion, and if you rewind, so like this, and get back in that pew, and savor it like you would savor this cup of coffee. You go back to the moment and you relive the moment. What did it feel like? What was around me? What was going on in my life before that I really wanted a tenderness and a closeness? Maybe actually in 2nd grade, my teacher was really hard on me, and that might not feel real now, but it was real then. And the fact that Jesus was tender really mattered to me. Or I go back to that moment in high school when I got to my morning prayers and just like this peace. Maybe I was having to apply to every college in the world and that was stressing me out. And the fact that God came to me with peace right there, it's like what was a $5 memory. You go back and you kind of dig into it a little bit. You say like, wait, what happened there? And you say, what did I feel? And then you ask, what does that tell me about God? God is my tenderness. Or God is my peace. And all of a sudden what used to be a $5 memory is starting to climb. Now it's kind of worth like $10 or $15 because you're realizing like, kind of like if your dad would hand you a stack of bills and you think like he gave you $10 and then you realize the last bill is a $100 bill. That's actually what happens with these experiences, which are called consolation, when God comes close, is God has all this stuff like packed into it. And if you go back and you like rewind and you like taste those things again, it's almost like it used to be a black and white movie and now you're watching it in Technicolor. There's so much depth to these moments that as you go back and remember them, it kind of gives you this like feeling of God is filling you up, and all of a sudden your bank account is going ding, 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 until you have actually way more money. So if you're looking for a way to like for God to Venmo you, do you understand what I'm saying? Like if it Venmo that grace back into your soul and to fill up your soul, I know He's already put it there because there's never a withdrawal in the whole world that is greater than the grace He's already given. So if you're in a place where you're feeling like, I don't know exactly where to go with this, like I need some more grace from God, I need some more of His voice to be able to counteract these temptations, try rewinding and try taking a look at what was he doing in those moments, and to taste it and smell it and feel it and touch it again. And if you just go through your memories in life and then you kind of take a look at, okay, and where in the Bible does it say that God is peace? Oh, that's Bethlehem. Actually, and I was little at my first communion. That was my Bethlehem experience. And all of a sudden it's like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You have more of that grace in your account because you're bringing in more truth and more life, and you're doing it from the place that God found you first. And you know, I think in the end game, like what you're looking at is sometimes when these temptations come, right? Let's say this temptation to like, just give up, right? What's interesting is those temptations are actually becoming really valuable because as you kind of like, all right, you have this Venmo and you all of a sudden with all this rewinding that I'm doing and kind of like seeing like, oh my gosh, the bottom bill on that's $100 bill. What used to be $5 is becoming 10, 15, 20, 25, 50. This temptation is only a $10 withdrawal. You didn't think you could do it first because it was just a 5. You only had a 5 until you actually started realizing, my Father Venmo'd me more than I knew. And you can pay for it, and not only that, there are certain temptations in your life that actually, they just become like rewards points. It literally is, you pay it out, but it becomes this like tender gift for God and a gift for you of, you know what? Every time that temptation comes, I know He gave me enough money. I know He did already. And actually, I can see Him paying dividends and giving a bang for my buck even now because every time I rewind, there's more grace in it. And every time I go to the gospel and link that in, there's like boom, exponential grace in it. So even though it feels like you can't do it, it's just a lie. Like you can, because God's already filled you up and He already has the grace in your account to be able to face life. And what you'll find is every time you pay out just a little bit on a temptation, God always sends you back like big time rewards bucks, because it's literally just an excuse for Him to be able to love you more. So every time you pay out $5, He's gonna pay you back $15 into your account. And as you go, you start growing a lot and coming a lot closer to Him. So for this week, if you wanted to, in the show notes, there's gonna be like this little handout, and it's Venmo dollars, okay? I know that those don't exist, but we're just making them up, okay? Is Venmo dollars, where it's just, what's an experience that I've had of God? And you can print out as many Venmo dollars as you want. We don't care about inflation here. You just, you just run that hot off the press. And you put down, what are the experiences I've had of God? And then on the back, what's the truth I learned about God? And I think chances are, if you take a little while to like sort through inside what's the different experiences I've had, I think you're gonna find that you might have a lot more money in your account than what you knew about. And actually, that you might be expecting even more from your Father than you ever thought. So today, the next time you fill up for gas, or the next time you feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta pay something out, remember that God is filling up your soul with every spiritual blessing and grace, and He wants to love you. So don't be afraid to ask your Father for a little bit of extra cash. He wants to love you, and until next week, I hope you have a great experience of God loving on you. Bye-bye.